Hey guys, so welcome to the first AMA of 2024. I can't believe it's 2024 already. I can't believe it's halfway through the first month of 2024 already. Matter of fact, more than halfway. Time flies. It really does. I am off camera today only because I'm missing some of my equipment. Lighting's not great, and quite frankly, it's a little difficult to read questions with my big head in the way. So no video for today. So I am going to keep this as short as possible. I know I always say that, but I really just want to do this rapid fire style. This is more, there's some questions that are kind of obvious to answer, but there's some off questions that you guys have asked that I think are interesting, and it's just good to get them all in one place we can go at them. So we'll just keep this as quick as possible. It's kind of rapid fire style, if you don't mind. So I'm actually going to go back a little bit here and just start with this one. What happens with Zeta and James Project? With James Project, yes, obviously, because we had built into the OTC smart contract to automatically donate, we'll just donate on our own. We'll just make one-off donations moving forward. No reason not to. Is there likely to be any benefit in the future to being Zeta Black or Zeta Prime? Yes, there'll always be some sort of benefit for that. There'll always be some sort of benefit for that. There's something about insurance. I'm not going to get into that. And we're going all the way back to October. It's funny. What happens to compromised wallets in the future if we're not doing migrations? Well, you guys didn't know about NFTs at this point. With NFTs, it's really easy. You just send the NFT to another wallet, right? Actually makes it solves a number of problems, which is, people having multiple wallets, they want to gift things to a family or friend, and or they want to nominate or migrate to another wallet for whatever reason. NFTs just solve all those problems, so you really don't have to worry about that. Just send your NFTs to another wallet. And just a little side note, don't ask me why, but MetaMask does not support moving NFT, ERC, smart contract tokens through the MetaMask install on a desktop. Don't ask me why that is. You can do it on mobile. You can't do it on the desktop. So the best thing to do is just go to OpenSea, connect to OpenSea, and you can move your NFTs that way. Assuming all the NFTs get purchased off of OpenSea, would there be a scenario where Zeta creates more NFTs? Nah, unlikely. No. If anything, you would see fewer NFTs because we'll be buying them and probably burning them, if I'm being honest with you. So no, I would not worry about that, Master Yoda, because there's always buyers and sellers for everything. I don't care what it is. If people mint dog tokens and get millions of dollars in daily volume, and there's many of those, right? There's always going to be buyers and sellers, so I would not be concerned with that. When airdrop? You're funny, Island Boy. I'm gonna laugh at that one. No, so in all reality, in all seriousness, we do have a few options moving forward. So obviously the compliance is one part. We're dealing with that. And with compliance, they're just, when they're quiet and they're doing their thing, you could pester them all you want. It's not going to make them go any faster. If anything, you're just going to annoy them, right? So there's that. We have a few other options that are progressing. One of them is actually progressing really, really nicely. You may say, well, that's vague. It's vague intentionally because, well, there's a few reasons. I think I've shared this, but, auditory, so just share it over here as well. Number one, humans tend to play the telephone game. If you don't know what the telephone game is, when I was a kid, the telephone game was you line people up, could be 10 people, and you whisper in the ear of the first person something, and then they whisper it to the next person, and on and on. And then you get to the 10th person, it's completely different than what you whispered to the first person. So humans have a way of either forgetting or adding, embellishing different facts and points to the degree to where the message is completely different. And that's not even a condescending, attacker. That's just the way people are in general. So to avoid that, and also to avoid hey guys, this is happening, and then, oh no, wait a minute, we're doing it a little different. Here's what all those little details, those emotional roller coasters. There's really no need for you guys to go on that ride with me. Let me be on that ride. And tell you what, when an airdrop is going out, whether it'll be the full one or part, and then another part, and another part, whatever the case may be, you'll have an announcement, and then, hey guys, check your wallets. That way, results, I like results rather than, this is what we're working on, and here's the 300 reasons why it's going to work, and here's the 50 different specific. None of that's going to help you guys. So when the tokens are in your wallet, that's when you will know. Okay, that's very shortly. And people hate the word shortly, and I understand that. And the reason I use that word is because it could be a week and it could be 10 days, could be 3 days, depending on how what we're doing works out. So there you go. It's just best that, hey guys, all of a sudden you have an announcement and you have tokens in your wallet as opposed to, speculating on 50 different things. But the point is there's at least a few options moving forward. One of them is moving forward really, really nicely. And I hope to see something on that actually really, really soon. Again, I have a date in mind, but I'm just not going to share the date because there's literally no reason to do it. So anyway, pardon the vagueness, but it is intentional for a reason. So what does a Zeta logo mean? Well, small spark. Look at next to your name. You see the thing that says Zeta Black? Okay, well, that's the Zeta Black version of the original Zeta Blue logo, which is essentially the Swiss flag. So if you look at the new one, which is right here, it's a little small, it's the same thing, but a little more cooler, space-like. So it's essentially the same logo, but just, I think, cooler. I'm going to point out something. Well, I shouldn't, but I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Somebody, when we first made the logo, this new logo, you're never going to unsee this once I tell you. So if you don't want to have this image in your head, don't listen to what I'm about to say. But they said that when they first saw this logo, it looks like Michael Jordan dunking a basketball. And ever since someone told me that, I can never unsee that ever again. It literally looks like his legs, his arm is behind him, and he's dunking a basketball. It's kind of funny. But that's what that is. Now that Zeta is a closed fund, will there be a new channel, a new Discord server? Yeah, we have a plan with the Discord. Get the NFTs out, and you'll know more about the plan with the Discord. I'm just gonna kind of leave it at that for now. But yeah, we have an idea of what to do with the Discord. Superman Nick, hope you're doing well. Hope the Thor is doing well. Guys at Thor. If Zeta's it basically is asking, if Zeta was doing 20% or more before trades and we're going to 5, is it getting that much more difficult to trade because of how big? Yeah, the fund's actually really big right now. It's really big, matter of fact. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons. There's that market unpredictability, lot size trading, which has to start to begin modifying based on where we're at. So, there's a lot of things, and I just, I'll be the first to admit, if I could do Zeta over again, there's a few things I would do different. One of them is it just wouldn't allow people to withdraw as often as they were. When you have market unpredictability, you may say, yeah, we're pretty confident we hit 20%, 25, 30, whatever the case may be. However, all the market has to do is people talk about black swan events, but not even black swan events. That's one thing, but also just unpredictability. Right? All of a sudden there's a gap. All of a sudden gold's not reacting to the CPI data, right? There's all sorts of these weird things that can happen. And so anyway, you couple that unpredictability with the potential of, hey, a third of the people all want to withdraw 100% of their profits every month when we only have a certain drawdown we have to hit, right? So all of these things, and honestly, I'm just learning more about funds since they have started. Right, so just having all these little, specifics allow us to really tailor it to be far more. I hate the word sustainable because things are either sustainable or they're not based on a lot of different factors, but more efficient, I'll say, right? Because having people withdraw profits that often in that quantity, when funds have some specific drawdown rate based on the risk and the trading strategy they're using, is just it's not a great mix, especially when you couple that with, hey, the market can literally do anything at any time, right? Gold is heavily manipulated, equities are heavily manipulated, Bitcoin's heavily manipulated. A lot of things are very manipulated, so you got to be very careful. You got to be on your toes. You have to make sure your hedging's right, which it is. It's just that sudden having to twist on a dime when you have all people trying to get out and they're trying to withdraw 100% of profits every month. And then you have to start modifying lot sizes based on the size of the fund and all that. That's the reason. So long answer to your short question, but Superman Nick, I hope you're doing well, and I hope the guys at Thor are doing well. What do we do with our time? Well, half century mark, we'll give you things to do with your time. Don't worry about it. What do we do with our time? We have a cast, and I mean this in the most respectful, loving way, but we have a very interesting cast of characters in our Discord. Um, uh, there's an old, I'm thinking of a meme. I'll have to go find it. But when Zeta first started, I made this funny meme. I never shared it publicly, but internally, it's like I have to go find it. I'm gonna botch it, I'm sure, but it shows a Zoom call with like 9 people on it, and they're like different like cats. One looks like he's ghetto. One looks like he's like really professional. I might even be dogs. I don't remember. But we almost have like different characters that I'm kind of picturing in my head with our Discord. It's a very interesting group, and love you guys. We'll have something to do with our time. I promise. I'm gonna laugh at that. That was funny. How has the fund and algorithm performance been since September? It's been great. It's been great. Again, we're talking about unpredictability in the market. Gold did not react to the CPI data at certain points in September like it typically does, right? So that kind of was like, whoa, so that we were able to, obviously, because we were in the middle of a migration, which is a really good time, to have that happen, even though we were migrating brokerages, right? So it's kind of pain in the butt still, but nonetheless, yeah, it's been great since September. I could say a lot more on that in a very positive way, but I best not. It's been very good, though. Has the compliance check negatively affected trading? No, it has not. No, the compliance is with the bank. It has nothing to do with the actual trading fund at all. We're still using the same methodology and trading practices. So no, and I'll tell you why. If no, how would we deviate? Yeah, I'll tell you the reason. So when you are not having people withdraw every single month, the trading strategy is very different. So, for example, when you have a fund and you have, let's say you have 100 million, and you're never trading the entire fund all at one time. There's percentages of it you're trading, depending on leverage, risk, your strategy, etc. Your drawdown rate, which also affects that. And what was going on is, especially in the earlier days, because people were withdrawing so frequently, a very small portion of the fund would actually get traded all at once. So if you just had this big, let's say you have a pizza, right? It's a pizza question here. I'm going to get to as well in a minute. You have a pizza. Because people can come and take slices, you can't eat the whole thing. You can only eat a little bit because you have to save some. Maybe look at it like that a little bit. That's a weird analogy. I'm sure Dan would have a much better analogy, but nonetheless, you can't trade the whole fund all at one time. And you especially can't do that when people are withdrawing so frequently. And not just the frequency, the quantity and frequency. So all that stuff. So no, actually the methodologies will be far better just because we know, hey, if there are very specific months that we are airdropping, that's very easy to plan for. And it really gives us a long runway in the entire quarter. Right? The only thing we'd be doing is, withdrawing for operational expenses, hence the reason there's no fees anymore. So, no, it's actually a much better strategy. We were a little, it was good, but we were just a little handcuffed before, right? Still good, but that's because our trader is that good. So imagine even with all those pressures, he was still doing really well. So hope that answers your question. Thanks, Zeta. And I forgot, I'll be putting check marks on these as I answer them as well, just because that way we know as we are going along what we are answering. And people also know not to duplicate. I actually did answer this one. Not to duplicate the questions later on. Will there be more ways to make money with Zeta in the future? Yes, there will be. I don't really want to speculate. I'm obviously, look, I'm very much thinking in the future, but I'm also thinking in the present. So number one right now is the outstanding airdrop. So there's NFT and the October withdrawal. So that's number one. Later, building other things, absolutely. Yeah, there's going to be all sorts of things. This is going to tie into the Discord and all that. And it'll tie into Prime and Black, the Zeta Black groups. But yeah, I don't want to say what it'll look like because, obviously the mission ahead is the NFTs and the pending airdrop rather than trying to build other things in the future. Those will come. So not to be dismissive. Thanks for the question, but hopefully you understand that. Yeah, so there's a couple of, honestly, these are both the same question. So So I'm going to put a check mark on both of them. So, okay, so Eagle Rocks, could you discuss the specific things that you've changed about how airdrops will happen to make sure things go smooth in the future? And can you share the plan moving forward with banking compliance? So, I'm not going to give specifics again because it goes into some of the things we are currently working on simultaneously, right? And again, it's just best leave out the details, deliver the results, right? So when the results are delivered, then you'll know a little bit more, all right? But until then, it's just best get the results out and then worry about the details later. Yeah, so basically the easy answer to this is it's a couple of different options that we're currently working on. One of them, like I said, is progressing really, really nicely that will allow us to make sure this actually works because we'll have already done it. If that makes sense, right? Again, so, okay. There seems to be a little bit of confusion, maybe not with you guys, but just with some people in general. Well, why the sudden delay? Well, because you had us in the best intention, with the best faith, trying to be transparent and saying, hey, here's this, here's this, here's this. Here's our broker. Nobody would ever give you their broker, by the way. But here's our broker. And what people do is they go and pass to the broker. They get the wrong jurisdiction. They socially engineer them. And, oh, yeah, we don't know who they are and all this kind of stuff. So then we have to move brokers, right? So that's 2 weeks of no trading. All right. Now, we were able to do that in a very unique way that still allowed some trading to take place. And this was during the migration period, as you recall. So now you're with a new broker, with a new bank, and you go to withdraw $12 million. What do you think that bank is going to say? The bank's going to say, who are you? Where'd you get this money? And let's make sure that this is on the up and up, right? So when they know you're sending it to another bank that primarily deals in crypto, okay, don't you think they're going to definitely say, wait a minute, just you moved over here as a new client to this broker, but we've never dealt with you as a bank. We don't know who you are. Does that make sense? So all of a sudden, this just comes out of nowhere, and you look like a brand new person who's just trying to do something unscrupulous, right? So of course the bank is going to say, whoa, wait a minute, chill. We're going to do our due diligence. We need to make sure that this was properly brought over. We need to make sure you didn't launder. You need to make sure you apply to anti-terrorism, this and that, and so forth. Because it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money being moved, and you're a brand new client. They have no idea who you are, right? So that's the reason, right? And if we had just, to be honest, if we were working with our previous broker and just said, hey, we're not going to share anything because nobody's business, we would have been able to swap right into crypto as we were doing before, right? Wouldn't have to do the banking stuff. So, but because we were trying to be transparent, people want to cause a problem. That's the problem that we currently have. So if you want to blame anybody, blame the people who decided to take matters into their own hands and create a problem that shouldn't have never been created, which is partly our fault because we should have just not been that transparent. It should have been more like, as Gavin mentioned, have a project run by Big Booty Betty, who you have no idea who it is, and no idea it's a SAFU, I think that's the word, right? The Trust Me Bro Fund. That's apparently what people in crypto like. They like less information is what it appears to be sometimes. Not you guys, but the people who, just want to make it their business to cause problems. When does the bank legally have to release the funds? Anything that has to do with a legal question, I'm literally going to skip over, Chappie. I don't mean to be rude to you, but I'm not an attorney. You don't want me as your attorney. And same with this one, legal recourse, not going to go into that. Just literally not going to go there. There's no reason to. Any word on the uncharged? Yeah, yes, it's already included. Skibbity, it's already included in the original one, the withdrawal we did. It's actually the last 2 drops, so all the outstanding drops will be solved when the airdrops go out. Okay. Stess, excuse me, I also said stress. Stess. Check out his hot sauce if you haven't. It's great stuff. Okay, so could you please share a word of caution to everyone about buying and selling NFTs with intrinsic value? I've heard stories of people buying other NFTs that hold intrinsic value, and the buyer pays what they believe to be a fair price, and then before the seller transfers it, they would strip the value out of it. Well, I can't give advice. I don't give advice. Just you said would love your advice. Thanks in advance. Can't give advice, but I will answer the question. There's nothing to strip out of these NFTs. There's no value to pull out and then give you a worthless empty NFT. So all the NFTs, by the way, will have a balance of $250. It doesn't matter if you pay $5,000 or $5,000 for it. It doesn't make any difference. It's you take that NFT, that's a $250 value. You get 60% a year based on that. Or up to 60% because of unpredictability, like we always said. Up to 60% per year based on the $250 value on that one NFT. So if somebody wants to sell it to you for $250 and you buy it for $250, you're getting an NFT that has a balance of $250. If the airdrops are going out and a few quarters from now, the value goes up because people realize, oh my gosh, it was real the whole time. Shocking, right? And all of a sudden it's worth $1,000. You may pay $1,000, but it's still worth $250, right? So you have to factor that into your ROI plan. There's nothing to strip out of it. The only thing that I could possibly think of that might apply to what your questions, though not really, is they don't, because on OpenSea and all these other NFT, I'm not an NFT guy, but I do kind of understand how they work. All these other platforms, you can make offers. You don't have to buy it for the price they're listing. The person can accept your offer the day after the airdrop occurs. So now you literally have to wait a full 90 days from that point, or 100, or however long it takes. You have to wait at least a full 3 months, right? So if you were trying to get it and then get the airdrop, you might not get it in time. Does that make sense? That's the only thing that can be air quote stripped. But you're going to have the next airdrop after that. It's not like it's gone and it's gone, right? It's not really how it works. So I don't know if that answers your question specifically, but the only thing I would say is don't wait until like the day before to try to buy the NFTs. That's just my suggestion because you will get more into the details about the airdrop, but some NFTs might get them before others. That's like my point. And if you try to wait till the last second, you might buy it. And Murphy's Law, you might be the NFT that didn't get it or already got it just before you bought it, and you now have to wait a whole another 3 months. So I would just get the NFTs you need, a week or two in advance, something like that. Hope that helps. And here's the best question. It gets a laugh and it gets a check mark because it's going to get answered. So since it's an AMA and we can ask anything, I've been wondering lately why pizza's around. I actually have an answer to this, and I put some thought into the answer to this. And it's actually a business answer. It's slightly a marketing, slightly psychological, and slightly business related. And if I was on camera, I would show you this, but I can't. I'm not, so I won't. Being in e-commerce, I do have a little bit of insight into this. So there's a couple reasons. You ever notice if you go into the grocery store or really it could even be a gas station, it could be any place where you buy snacks. Go and find some sort of snack on the snack aisle. It could be popcorn. Popcorn, not usually because it's so inexpensive, but chips or something of that nature, or pretzels, whatever the case might be. I like this thing, and you can actually, if you look for this, you can test this out for yourself. It's a snack called Cheese Wisps. It's really good. This is a great example, and this would have been why I would show you on camera if I was on camera. Go and grab the bag of whatever it may be, that or something else, and you'll notice a couple things. Number one, the bag is filled mostly with air. Most snacks are filled 80% with air. Okay, 20% with the actual product. Those slightly different variations, but most of the case it's 80-20. Different kind of 80-20, right? So the reason they do that is to try to justify the price. So if you were to look at that bag and you can kind of feel where the actual product is. It's always on the bottom, obviously. So if you feel it, look at the bag. If they were actually to put that size bag on the shelf, it would never sell for $3-4 or whatever it is. The way they can sell for $3-4 and have ridiculous margins on their bottom line is the fact that they have a larger bag. The bag is cheap. The design on the bag is cheap. The air is cheap. It's the product that costs the money, right? So what they do is, in order to get their margins inflated and really high, they just fill it mostly with air. In addition to that, they pull a few psychological tricks on you. They'll always put the logo at the very top. Right? You'll notice this. Or it's on the side that you usually open. So where you go to open the packaging is usually where the logo is. It could be the brand or the name, but it's usually the brand or the logo. And then they'll do something like chips, for example, is a great example. They'll create some sort of, typically, not always, but typically they'll create some sort of vertical stacking on the actual packaging design. So it'll look like chips stacked up or something. And then they'll put in the middle the actual name of the product, like potato chips. So what's happening? You're looking at the top, the stacking of the vertical product on the actual design makes you scan it top to bottom, and then you're looking in the middle at the name. So they've got you look all over the bag. So now psychologically you're thinking this is a big bag. Till you get home and you open it and you're like, what the heck? And you're kind of pissed, but you eat it and you enjoy it so much you really don't care. You buy it again. All they need to do is get you to eat it, because I know once you eat it, you're most likely, if you love it, to go buy it again. But there's nobody in the world, most people, I shouldn't say nobody, but most people, who would buy a bag that small for that price if they actually knew how much was in it until they ate it. So they got to get you to eat it. So they use all these tricks to get you to eat it. So that also goes for like candy and things like this. You'll never see a transparent bag. That's intentional. The only time you'll see that is when it's full. Okay, or they'll do a transparent part, a see-through part at the bottom, because that's where all the product is. Right? It's just very, very standard. So when they really fill the bag, they'll show it off. It'll be transparent. You'll see through it. Jars, peanut butter, things like this. So going to the pizza part, it's all psychological, right? There's a couple of reasons. Number one, square boxes are bigger. Okay, so it appears it's bigger. This is like the filling the air idea in the bag, right? So if you open up a pizza box, in many cases, there's a lot of box around that pizza. So you think to yourself, well, it actually didn't need to use this big of a box. Yeah, they did, and they did it for a reason. That's why they put the little plastic thing in the middle of the pizza. They keep it from moving around. So they put the plastic part, and some of them will put even like a little plastic holder. But nonetheless, it's to stop the pizza from moving around and shifting with all that space, right? There's definitely more space there needs to be. Another thing is, too, is a round pizza box. I know some countries have them, but in most cases, they're not like that easy to actually put together because of just the shape and the way they fit together. It's just cheaper to create, square boxes. So anyway, the only reason I thought that was such an interesting question is because it actually goes into a lot what I used to do, which is the psychology of retail and e-commerce and the way customers view product. And everything that is done in consumables is 110% intentional. From the color to the shape to the placement to everything, it's all intentional. It's all intentional. And I mean, I can go on for another half hour. There's really no point. But best question. You get the best question. I'm kidding. Well, half kidding. Anything interesting to share besides airdrops and NFTs? Yeah. Pizzas are served in square boxes because it gives you the impression that there's more pizza than there is box, when there's actually, in many cases, more box than there is pizza. And when you buy something, food, you have to actually spend a lot more money for a very little product before you can try it out. And then once you try it out, you're hooked, and they got you. And there's all psychology and everything. I have nothing else to share. No. I don't understand the question about the new fund, Maestro. I don't mean to be dismissed. I just don't know what you're talking about. What new fund? Can you clarify? If you post in the Zeta chat or something. I'll put a curious face. If you post in the chat somewhere, I'll try to answer. I'm sorry, I just don't know what you're talking about. I think you posted this question twice. After the NFTs airdrop, will there be some type of dashboard made on the DApp? Yes, I actually want to work on a dashboard. I didn't mention that. It's not written anywhere, but yes, the plan is to have a dashboard. Basically, a dashboard will show you how many NFTs you're holding. It'll show the total balance, and it will show the anticipated months where the airdrops are to occur. Yeah, it's honestly it's really all static stuff, to be honest. But yes, and then we can actually build onto that dashboard as we go on. But yes, that's the plan, Lady Chain. Hope you're doing well. That is the plan. Is there plan to continue with other voyages in the Uncharted saga? Without speculating, yes, I believe so. Without speculating. Most likely there will be. I mean, right now it's just get the pending airdrop handled. And by the way, Uncharted Chapter 2 is going to be dealt with. So if you bought those, yeah, those will be dealt with. I promise. Didn't forget about them. Round Round pizza boxes. I don't know. Is there any possibility for this? Yeah, it's something from Zeta Prime, which is not public, so I'm not going to go into that. Matthew, TDT, respond to you in Zeta Prime. I think that's it, guys. Let's go and scroll up here a little bit. I'll go back, see if I missed anything. I'm going way back here since October. Some of these don't even apply anymore, right? Now, Circle Mints doesn't work in certain countries, Guts, by the way. It's just not available in some countries. And actually, if you go look, they've made some pretty major changes lately. So it's no. Prepaying fees. Okay, so a few things. So the NFT airdrop, NFTs are being tested as we speak right now. They're designed, they're being tested. They will have fees added to them. So if you paid your fees between, I want to say it was November 4th through the end of the year, basically when we said they were going to be added, I believe it was, the airdrop I think was due to 3rd. So we started on the 4th. That would have been the first day it's late. So from the 4th on through the end of the year, any fees you paid will be added to your position, right? Take your pools, take your accounts, take your unclaimed profits. Obviously, you wouldn't factor in your airdrop to this. Airdrop's completely separate. That's going to come regardless. But take your accounts and pools, unclaimed profits, add all that together, add your fees that you paid there in that time, divide by 250. That's the number of NFTs you're getting, rounding down to the nearest 250, just because it's always safer to round down than up, because you can't, again, create magical money that doesn't exist. The same reason why when people are saying, why don't you just multiply people's pools out? No offense to anybody who suggested it. It is the worst idea, though, because you literally are calculating something that you don't even know is there. You cannot do that. So it's always going to be rounded down. And it's currently being designed. We have, not designed, tested. It is designed. The design looks cool. If you guys will like it. And anyway, it is undergoing testing at the moment. And let me see, what else is there to add about that? The idea is to get them out today. I'm not going to lie to you. That is the idea, get them out today. It kind of depends on how the testing goes. Hopefully that just works out. Otherwise, it might be a couple days. Sorry. Just give us time. And I will say here, there's actually going to be 2 airdrops for the NFTs. Let me explain. Because of the time crunch between the end of the refund tickets, and the minting and the testing of the NFTs. Anyone who opened up a refund ticket will get their NFTs in a second drop. Why? Because if you were opening a refund ticket and you're completely exiting the system, you're not going to get an NFT. That's obvious. But the people who opened refund tickets also have Zeta Blue positions in the same wallet. Right? So now it's, okay, what was migrated versus what did they put in? All right, well, we only have so many developers and so many manpower to do all these calculations. I want to make sure that people don't accidentally get way more NFTs than they're not supposed to. And then we got to mint a whole new one and send them all out. Instead of avoiding that, what we're going to do is everybody who has a refund ticket, you're just not going to get your NFT. Don't freak out. So if you're part of Zeta Blue and you're like, hey, what happened to my Zeta Blue NFTs? We're going to pull back after everyone else gets their NFTs. Give us a few days. We'll run the calculations and we'll get you guys your NFTs for Zeta Blue if you have a refund ticket open. Okay, I'll explain this in the announcement when it happens, but just kind of bear that in mind. It's just easier so that we're not allowing 90% of people to wait for the 10%. Does that make sense? It's just easier to get people who don't have the tickets open, who it's very easy to identify their positions, their NFTs, and then we'll pull back, do the calculations, and then the people who have refund tickets open, who also have migrated blue positions, will get their NFTs on top of that. And your airdrop that you requested, whether you have a refund or you're getting NFTs or whatever your position is, you're still getting that regardless. Okay, so just bear that in mind. And I believe that's it. There's nothing else coming to mind at the moment. So anyway, I know there's a little bit of vagueness. I know it's kind of like, well, gee, I know some people are going to say, well, gee, I don't know anything more than I knew before. Again, like I say, it's better that you let me be on the roller coaster for you so that we get that resolved. And then the next thing you know, hey, guys, go check your wallet, right? And then it's like, hey, guys, next week, go check your wallet, right? That's what I would prefer, results. So Anyway, it's all intentional, but nobody, I promise you, nobody's sitting on their hands. And I promise you that when you actually see the light at the end of the tunnel for this, you're actually going to be glad that you hung around and waited. So anyway, if there's any other follow questions, please let me know. I think I pretty much answered most of everything in here. But we'll do this a little bit more often. I didn't see like a ton of questions, but just some questions were coming up frequently. And I thought, it'd be a good idea just to jump on quick AMA. Again, we're about half hour in, so it's still pretty quick, for me at least anyway, answer these. So we'll do this a little bit more frequently, just because I think you guys appreciate the personal touch. And it's actually a lot easier to just get through all of these just blasting through them all at one time as opposed to text, and people misinterpret text and tone and all sorts of stuff. So it's just a lot better in a whole lot of ways. So we will talk soon, guys. Thanks for tuning in and take care until next time. God bless. See you later.